I'm sitting here with Lynette, and she's going to tell us about, something that happened recently, and what comes across as being an American hero. So, Lynette, go ahead and tell us that story of that rescue that you just went through.
Well, that was in November, and this is February, so it's been a few months. It's a long story, but to sum it up real short, November 8th, about 10 o'clock at night, a friend and I witnessed a man driving off of the road and flying into Mille Lacs Lake head first. Did 2 rolls, front over back and side to side. Basically what happened is I told her to stop the car, handed her my phone, told her to call 911, and I just ran into the lake, and there was a man in front of the car, outside of his vehicle. He had been ejected from the car. And by the time I ran into the lake, I saw splashing in the front of the car. And so I went up there, and his head was going up and down above water. And I could see these hands splashing. So I went up there, I put his head on my chest, keep his head above water, and I went to tug on him to pull him loose, but he was either trapped under the car or the airbag would have been wrapped around his legs. So after a few tugs, I finally broke him loose, carried him up to shore, and laid him on the ground. Went back out to the lake several times looking for other survivors. Didn't know if there was any other survivors, but we did find a baby booster car seat floating in the lake, shoes floating to shore. And that man, I come to find out later, had been just one more gasp away from drowning. Doctor said he had about 3/4 full of water in his lungs. And if I had walked instead of ran, that man wouldn't be with us right now.
Wow, that's a great story. You don't hear very often where someone's willing to jump into a lake and rescue someone out of that lake.
Yeah.
And what was going through your head? I mean, you're starting into the water, and what are you thinking about?
Well, I really wasn't thinking. All I could think was there's a human being flying in a car that just landed in a lake. I didn't think. It was just an absolute gut reaction to go and save whoever might be in the water.
Wow. And then you see this a baby seat. I mean, what's that?
Well,
what's that feeling like?
Yeah, initially I didn't see the baby seat. I had pulled the man up to shore, and I gave him a quick head to toe. I could see that he was okay. He was talking, didn't need CPR, so I went back out to the car. And I actually stood in the front of the car, and I took about 5 seconds to say a quick prayer, which was, God, because I asked this man, he was intoxicated, unfortunately, and I asked him if there was other people, and he said, yes, 3. And I got out to the front of the car. In the car, the water was up to the top of the windows, so the headlights and the taillights were submerged underwater. It was 10 o'clock at night, so it was dark, and all I could see is the glow underwater. And I didn't know where to go next, so I just said, Lord, help me. Where do I need to go to find these people? And it wasn't an audible voice. I don't know how to explain it. I just got this. There are no other 3 people. But that went in one ear and right out the other ear, because what if there were babies out there? What if there was other people? So I started searching. And it was while I was searching that I was discovering child shoes, probably under the age of 13 or 14, a baby booster seat floating out in the water because I did go behind the car, and a little bit in front of the car because I saw debris floating. I didn't know if they were bodies. It's hard to tell when it's that dark.
Yeah. That's a pretty amazing story. So you had a chance to meet him after. What was that like?
Yes. Just makes my heart melt. It really does. It was just an incredibly wonderful visit. He's 23 years old. He has a girlfriend who was 5 months pregnant. And what was so incredible was that he was paralyzed from chest down. But I found that good news that day was that his spinal cord wasn't actually severed. It was just severely bruised. So he could be, with therapy, be walking in the next 5 to 7 years. That's what the doctors told him. But I would like to treat him here because I think I can get him up and walking faster than that.
And here is where? Where are we at?
But the Pain, Injury, and Brain Centers of America here in Staples, Minnesota.
And you're a nurse here,
That
right?
is correct, yeah.
Yeah, and you've treated my father, who has Parkinson's and Lewy body dementia, and as I've watched many of the patients come through here, you've treated quite a few of them, including little Jaden.
Yes.
Who had Lyme disease, correct?
Correct.
And he had some pretty severe symptoms. How is he doing now?
Well, Just to give you an idea of how well he's doing, he used to never be able to ride his bike. He could not participate in Phi Ed. He had headaches frequently on a daily basis, so much that he was vomiting, and a lot of times he would vomit up blood. After the treatments here, he is now able to ride his bike. He is now able to participate in Phi Ed, and he is no longer vomiting from his headaches.
Wow. That's amazing. So what exactly do they do here?
Well, we're called the Pain Injuries and Brain Centers of America for a reason. The equipment that we used was made by the same scientist that made the EEG, the EMG, the lie detector test. The best way to describe the equipment that we use, it's sort of like an MRI, scanning and treating at the same time. The equipment that we use scans your body up to 100 times per second. And the first signal that goes in is reading what's in your body, what your cells are doing, if they're functioning, if, what they're like. Comes back to the machine, and the machine recalibrates it, sends out a corrective signal into the body. And by doing this, increases your cell, it basically puts your cells from a degenerative state to a regenerative state. Your body heals 500 times faster by doing this. And it also deals with ATP and cellular respiration.
Wow. Pretty amazing. Well, I don't know if people have told you enough, but it is, in my book here, American Hero, someone that's willing to jump into an ice-cold lake, pull someone out, rescue them, say a prayer for their family, meet up with the individual, and then willing to treat them at the place you work. That's, that really stands up high in what you do and who you are as a person. So I appreciate you taking the time to tell us that, and we look forward to working together. And I thank you for all the work that you do for my dad, getting him healthy again.
Yes.
Thanks for that.
Thank you.
I'm sitting here with Carrie, and she's going to tell us a little bit more what got her involved with the Pain Injury and Brain Centers of America. So tell us, what got you involved?
Well, the biggest thing is that my mom is an occupational health nurse down in Winona, and Tammy had contacted her and wanted to work with her, and so my mom found out about the Pain Injury and Brain Centers and knew that our family had struggled with Lyme disease, and so she had asked, would this work on Lyme disease? And Tammy said, absolutely. And she said, well, I should have my daughter and her family be treated. And Tammy said, well, I'll go up there and treat them for a week. And, which is great. I mean, who just volunteers to go somewhere 5 hours away to treat people?
And for those who don't know, who is Tammy?
Tammy's the owner of the company.
Okay.
And, so she decided to come up, and she treated myself and my son and my husband when he could be treated, and then 4 other individuals, 3 other individuals. So anyway, we had 2 treatments a day, and we all had positive results. The biggest thing was brain fog. It's kind of where you feel like you can't complete sentences, you can't grasp words as quickly, just feels like you're in a fog trying to grasp things. So
and
anyway,
that cleared up in, you said 2 days or so? Or?
I think we were all a little bit different. I know for me it had cleared up in about 2 days. With antibiotic use, I think it had helped tremendously. I didn't even quite realize that I still had it until I started having the headband treatments, and then it was almost like a fog was lifted. So the thing with Lyme disease is antibiotics can't get to the brain. They can't pass through that blood-brain barrier. And so even if you treat with antibiotic use, as far as I've been told, they can't get to that. But the equipment doesn't matter. It can pass right through. He started not being able to.
Interesting.
And that helped. That did help. But Jaden, when he was younger, he would throw up every time we were in the car. And poor kid, I mean, he would be in his car seat, and we couldn't get to him fast enough because he was so little. And realized here he was having chronic headaches as a kid, and that was causing these such bad migraines that he'd then throw up. And then, sorry, I'm kind of going back, but he had a lot of different ear infections, and he had croup. a lot of different sicknesses. I mean, we were in and out of the ER since he was born, either with one of us, you know, myself or him or Dave or Walker. I mean, for the most part, we were in and out of the ER since being treated. We haven't hardly been in since. So, fast forwarding, with our treatment, it had helped quite a bit. It helped a lot with his headaches, his concentration. He had a little bit of difficulty still in kindergarten, cognitively. But as we were getting treated by Tammy, one thing that he still had problems with is when he would be in Phi Ed class, he would still have pain with his knees. And with that, he couldn't run a whole lot without hurting. He was having inflammation in those joints. And so when she treated him, it had gotten rid of all that. In fact, I don't even remember him even recently talking about having any pain in his knees anymore. And headaches. Very rarely does he ever complain of headaches anymore. So,
how often does he get treated?
Well, initially he had gotten treated twice a day for a week. And then it took about 3 weeks for us to kind of get things together to drive to Winona and get treated for about a week, twice a day. And then about 3 weeks later I went down. So it wasn't ideal. Ideally you want to have things consecutive, but just was going to Winona because this clinic wasn't open. That's what we did. And then now, kind of fill my family in when there's time, which isn't very good. But, you know, this last week he had gone every day, otherwise probably twice a week.
So what else do you do? So you do this, you kind of run this clinic up here at Staples and help people get treatment. What else do you do?
In life?
Yeah.
Tuesday and Thursday I teach music. I'm an elementary music teacher. I teach piano lessons to 4 students. I help take care of a man that has Alzheimer's 20 hours a week. I homeschool my son. I make meals for a family once a week.
Yeah, you actually brought us a meal while we were staying up here in Staples, a chili meal right to the motel, and invited us over for dinner a couple times, and pretty good cook, so.
Thanks.
So you do a lot, huh? Keeping yourself very busy.
Yeah.
And why do you do all that?
Because God tells me to. And I enjoy
Just
it.
being obedient. Yeah.
I enjoy it. I think hospitality has kind of gifted me with that. I enjoy it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your story, and we look forward to more positive stories from your family and how they get through the Lyme disease and go on to be, you know, healthy and active. And I enjoy Jaden. He loves football, and you know, it's just running all over the place all the time. I can't even imagine him in any other way. So obviously, you've seen some great results. So thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.